Welcome to The Shed Wireless, a podcast for shedders, hosted by John Paul Young and produced by the Australian Men's Shed Association.
Yeah, there's something for you at the Men's Shed.
Well, now it's time for Shedder in the Spotlight. I was lucky enough to be part of the recent national gathering in Brisbane. There I met Robert Goluch, who is the president of the Men's Shed Canada Association, and he's with me today to talk all things Men's Shed Canadian style. So how you doing today, Robert?
I'm doing very well and really looking forward to saying hello to you and the good listeners, the good Men's Shed listeners in Australia who listen to your podcast.
You were here for the convention in Brisbane?
Well, believe it or not, I was so fortunate to attend the 11th National Gathering of the Australian Men's Shed Association in Brisbane. I've never been to Australia before, and I have to say what a delightful country, what a delightful city, what delightful people, and what a great conference I had the privilege of attending. It worked out so well for me, and it was, I felt like at home almost in Australia. It was unbelievable in Brisbane. And how beautiful it is. And the weather, we were having cold weather here, raining, and you come over here and it's plus 28, and oh my God, what a difference. And I just fell in love with it. And I got to spend a month there one day.
Yes. Oh, that's great. So how long were you here for?
Well, I was there for about a week, and I have to tell you, our Prime Minister, kind of paved my way. He was there a week before us. He had a greater entourage than I did.
Yeah.
But I was there for a week, and the event was so well organized and such great topics. 3 concurrent sessions. I think they had 19 concurrent sessions, three plenaries, and the caliber of the speakers were amazing, and our hosts, David and Luke, were absolutely outstanding. So it was a very good event for me, and I was very, very, very happy to be there. I learned a heck of a lot of stuff too.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really good. Now, you're going to have to tell me a little bit about it. What's happening over there in British Columbia, or basically in Canada, when it comes to men's sheds? What's it all about?
Well, Canada. First of all, Australia gave the world such an incredible gift. This magical men's sheds. It's unbelievable how simple but magical it is. Somewhere to go, something to do, someone to talk to. And when it came to Canada, I think the first one, you're not going to believe this, but it started in Winnipeg, where I lived, and I never paid attention to it, never heard of it, until I migrated to Western Canada. Winnipeg's in the heart of Canada, and I went to Western Canada. Mm-hmm. And then for 3 months, I was looking for something to do. I just retired not very long before that, and one day I picked up the newspaper and I see about 150 different not-for-profit organizations that are looking for volunteers. And I came across Men's Shed, Squamish Men's Shed. So I went up there, but the door was closed. And I repeated that about 12 times. I said, oh, it's going to be fiction. There's no such thing as it. And I thought it was going to be about carpentry, and I wanted to learn more about carpentry, improve my skills. Anyways, one day I was going to the grocery store on my way back. The door was open, and I walked in and had a conversation with 3 gents, and they told me what Men's Shed was all about and asked me my background, and that was my big mistake. And they said, oh, you're going to join us? And I think within about 6 months, I became the president there I guess I was there for about 3 or 4 years. And then I joined the Provincial Men's Shed Association. I became the vice president. And then not very long after that, I was elected president of Men's Sheds Canada. So somebody asked me not very long, well, what did you do to deserve that punishment? Starting a national organization is not an easy undertaking. we take a look at our country with different time zones, bilingualism, 10 provinces, three
Mm.
territories, and so on. It's quite a challenge. Nevertheless, I'm very happy to say that after 2 years, we were inaugurated about 2 years ago, and we now have reached a milestone of 200 sheds across Canada. We have 5 provincial associations that are helping us with starting sheds in each province, and we're looking to start maybe 2 or 3 more to help us reach about 1,000 sheds by 2032. I think it's at the same time that you're going to be celebrating your Summer Olympics.
Aha. Yes, indeed. In that city that you were in
In
Brisbane.
Brisbane, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I missed that before. Now, what was your previous job?
Oh, I worked with the provincial government. I was the acting assistant deputy minister for finance and administration
Aha.
with the government of Manitoba.
Right. So I've often heard people who come from an office background say, "I just wanted to go and make sawdust."
Exactly.
Was that your outlook?
That was my full intention, and I got sucked into doing paperwork, and I've been stuck ever since. And I have to tell you, trying to find volunteers to be presidents or vice presidents or treasurers or even secretaries is a real, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah,
People, once they retire, they want to have fun. They want to do sawdust. They want to do all kinds of interesting things in a shed and not do paperwork, and because most of them spent their lives doing that. So I can appreciate that, but somebody's got to do it.
but we need them.
For sure. There's no way around it. Somebody's got to write applications for grants, and somebody's got to write minutes and organize
Absolutely.
meetings and that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So, what kind of varied things go on in men's sheds in Canada?
Well, we have all kinds of, no shed is the same. But, regardless of where you go, whether it's in Canada, province to province, or elsewhere, sheds are different. They're very unique, but you know what? The spirit is the same. And the
Yeah.
kinds of things that we're doing, let me give you a couple of examples. In my own shed, every summer during July and August, we have an intergenerational project for children between the ages of 5 and 11 years old. And what we do is we teach them basic carpentry skills. First of all, we give them a little tour of the shed to show them what the power tools are, what the various tools, what the purpose of it is, and just to see how the tools work, just to give them an idea. And then we have little tents set up and tables set up and all kinds of children tools set up so they can learn how to glue, how to saw, how to sand, how to cut, how to make a little craft piece that they could bring home to their parents and show this is what I did. And so like last summer we had about 160 children visits over the summer doing that, and we've done this now for at least 5 years. And
Oh,
we ask them to, donate a loonie or a toonie, and we give that to the food bank. So we raise, thousands of dollars for our local food bank doing that. And to see, the grandfather shedders with the little 5-year-old and 6-year-old, well, I'm telling you, the image that it portrays is incredible. And the happiness that it produces, the joy in the child's face, and, the satisfaction of the grandfather shedder being able to transfer his skills to a young child. So these are marvelous gifts that men's sheds allows men to do and a community to enjoy. So
oh,
we do that kind of stuff. In Quebec, there's another very interesting shed that I visited not very long ago. It was in Lac Brome, and here's what they have a repair cafe. And what happens is, every, once or twice a week in the evening, residents, normally they're older residents, come in with an article that they want repaired, whether it's a lamp, or a piece of furniture or whatever, or an electronic appliance or something. And So they come to the desk, they register their name and what it is that they want repaired, and then the register agent refers them to one of the tables where two or three shedders are there to repair the thing that needs repairing, whether it's electrical or whether it's carpentry or whatever. And after it's completed, that person comes back uh, with the repaired well, whatever it is, furniture, and has to re-register and say, okay, yes, this has been repaired, and he signs his name and he's able to go. But they have a bell there, and once the person signs his name that he's received the repaired product, a bell rings, and it's a sign that that person has made a donation. And all the shedders get up and they all clap while the bell is ringing, say thank you in a very, very loud French voice for the product
Ah,
prepared. It is
merci beaucoup.
community, community group event, and it's quite nice. And I remember that night they raised I think it was about $238 in donations for fixing things. That same shed, by the way, generates revenue through their maple syrup production. They have a number of maple trees that they sap in March and April, and make syrup, and they sell it. And it's
Oh,
lagberg
wow.
mentioned. Yeah.
How is maple syrup made?
Oh my goodness, that's a very good question, and I have a nice story to tell you about that. When I lived in Winnipeg, I had one Manitoba maple in my backyard.
Uh-huh.
One. And so March, third week of March, just when the weather sort of, improves, it goes beyond zero, and at night it goes below zero. When it goes above zero, then the sap starts to run. And you have to put a little spout and a little pail. And you
Uh-huh.
have to gather about 40 gallons of that sap to make 1 gallon of syrup, maple syrup.
Wow.
And so, of course, you have to boil the sap until all the water evaporates, and all you have left is the sugar and the syrup. Well,
Oh.
with from one tree, I was able to make only 1 liter, but the amount of money I spent on fuel, to water that, I could have bought 10 bottles in the grocery store.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go to the supermarket.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it was such a pleasure to take advantage of my little tree who produced syrup every year. It was unbelievable, and I really
Oh,
enjoyed it.
that's great.
I
That's
know.
great.
Yeah.
So what do we have in the future for the Canadian men's sheds?
Well, we're transitioning. We were a working board, and we are transitioning to a governing board rather. And in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to be fully transitioned. We're going to be having our AGM in the next 3 or 4 months. And what we're hoping to do is in the meantime, develop a plan that will help us um, reach about 1,000 sheds in the next several years by 2032. So that is our objective,
Hmm.
and we are very fortunate that we managed to secure private funding for 5 years, and we're entering year three now for of our 5 years. And of course, we're keeping an eye on sustainability. What's going to happen after year five? So we're working out our strategy, our funding strategy, and beyond year five, and that's pretty exciting as well. So
Now, do you have Indigenous involvement with the sheds? Do those guys get involved?
we have a pretty high Indigenous population, and in Vancouver, anyways, we have what is called a Dudes Club. And there are about 60 of those clubs across Canada, and one or two of them in Vancouver have got interested in men's sheds. So we are working closely with them. One of the projects that they're working on right now is a totem pole, carving a totem pole. So we'll see how
Oh,
that
yeah.
goes. We're almost there. Yeah, it's real fun working with them. They're very interesting bunch of shedders, we call them now, and we
Yep.
eat together, we have fun together, we We're working on the totem pole together, so
Oh,
waiting to
well.
see the
Well,
end of
that's
it.
great. You must send me a photo of your totem pole when it's finished.
Absolutely, we sure will.
Yeah,
We're
that'd
quite
be great.
excited about it.
Yeah. Well, Robert, thank you so much for this chat. I'm sure it'll create a bit of interest out there because it's always nice to hear from somebody on the other side of the world. And
Yes,
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself in Brisbane. And maybe, you never know, you may come back one day.
there you go. No, I plan to for sure. Yeah, yeah. Love is in the air. We'll do that.
Thanks, Robert. Bye bye.
All the best. Thank you for this.
The Shed Wireless is produced by the Australian Men's Shed Association, made in Australia, and distributed all over the world for the love of shedding.
It don't matter if you work with wood or fabricating metal is the thing you understood. Whatever is your game, everyone's the same. Yeah, we can do it all at the men's shed. Short, fat, tall, skinny, hairy, bald. In the shed, it's welcome one and all. Share the skills you